Well, welcome back all my YouTube subscribers and browsers, and thanks for giving up your very valuable time again to look at more classic off-road motocross machines here on my Classic Dirt Bike TV. Now we have some fantastic bikes lined up for you for 2020, and please make sure that you subscribe in order that you don't miss any of these fantastic machines. Okay, this time round we're going to take a few minutes to have a look at John Fleming's 1971 380 CZ Twinshocker. Now almost immediately you can see that this is not a fully original machine from 1971, although to be fair, the frame and the motor are most definitely from 1971, but many of the other parts are basically just bolt-on upgrades or improvements that make this bike ride and handle just that little bit better. Now this bike was originally built by Gerard Coppens, who owns and operates his CZ Stuff parts empire in Herefordshire in the southwest of the UK. Now Gerard initially put this bike together to use as a promotional tool to showcase the many different parts he sold for these old CZ twin shock bikes. Although the bike back then of course looked absolutely nothing like you see it in this particular clip. Now this is what the bike actually looked like soon after Gerard had finished building the bike, and of course subsequently then sold the bike to John a few years ago. Now as you can see, the bike is missing many of those fancy trick parts that John has since fitted to the bike, but nevertheless as you can see, it was still a nice tidy little bike even back then. But of course over the years John has continually improved the bike, and to get it to this particular condition seen here in 2018 at the Cumberland Grand National Scramble. And over the last few years John has been racing this machine and steadily making improvements to the motor and the overall handling of the bike. Now the motor is a 380cc two-stroke from 1971, although this again has had a few tweaks and upgrades to make it more user-friendly. Now as you can see, the 380 barrel has undergone major surgery, and some of the cooling fins have since been removed. Now whether that was to reduce the overall weight of the motor or to even improve the cooling, I'm not entirely sure, but it's been quite a radical piece of engineering. Now one of the other little upgrades is this very nice aluminium head steady bracket bolted from the frame to the head. Also on this motor, no original Jikov carburetor on this bike. This carburetor was replaced by this more modern Mikuni affair. Much more easier to tune and much more reliable. Now one of the more positive improvements to this 380 motor was to fit this aftermarket gear shifter system to eliminate the normally long throw of the shift lever, which of course was a very common problem on these old CZ machines. Now these very trick linkage systems combined with this new 3/4 CNC machined casing totally eliminated the long throw gear changes and made changing gears on these CZ bikes just as good, and if not better, than any other equivalent Japanese machine. But these are very good improvements to make to these 380 motors, and this particular system works extremely well. And if my memory serves me correctly, these casings and linkage systems were designed and manufactured right here in Scotland. But these 380cc CZ motors are very powerful units. If you get the carburation and everything else just right on these bikes, then these can be as quick as any equivalent machine on the track in their day. Now, ever since John purchased this bike a few years ago, he's been continually making improvements to the motor to make it more user friendly, and he reckons that now he's just got this machine about right. But these CZs are becoming more and more popular for classic and twin shock riders, and it's not hard to see why riders are queuing up to buy these old CZ machines. Now, with regards to the front end of the bike, it's taken John a while, but he's eventually managed to get the front end of the bike to handle the way he wants it. But he told me I had to experiment a bit with improvements to the damper rods, different weights of oil, and even various different springs, although he's now happy with the way that the front forks operate. Now, at the controls end of the bike, and fitted to these very nice CNC machined alloy triple clamps, are a pair of very high quality bar risers to enable the front end of the bike to be lifted closer to the rider. Now, there are a multitude of replacement exhaust systems available for these classic CZ machines, and it looks like John has opted for a PFR race pipe from Proform Racing to add to his machine, complete of course with this very nice PFR alloy tailpipe. And of course John has also opted to fit this carbon fibre protector over the exhaust to try and protect his boots, etc., from the heat of that very hot exhaust pipe. But of course there is a very nice brap from that PFR tailpipe when this 380cc motor gets fired up. But at the business end of the bike, the rear drive sprocket is complemented by this very substantial brake anchor arm cum chain guide. Very bespoke piece of engineering there. Now, the rear suspension is a pair of very high quality Falcon rear shocks, and these are very good shocks for these old classic racers. But despite all the upgrades and all the non-original parts on this bike, it's still a very good looking machine, and is also very quick on the racetrack, as I have witnessed personally, and can certainly vouch for that particular statement. But then again, that's just another reason why these old CZs are so popular with the classic and twin shock riders. It's just that there is so much you can do with these old bikes with regards to making them better to run and ride. And as you can see, John has put his own personal touch to his featured bike with this very nice yellow and black bumblebee type livery. Now, okay, it's not an original 1971 bike, but then again, where are the original 1971 380CZs? There can't be many still out there and still racing. So at least we've got a nucleus of a 71 bike with John's frame and motor, even although you could argue that it's tricked up to the max. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this very quick gander at John's CZ380, and my next video on my channel will be the first of 5 machines from the superb Terry Pickering Classic dirt bike collection. So if you're not already a subscriber, then I suggest you do it soon in order not to miss a single bike. So thanks again for watching, and we'll speak to you again very soon. This video was brought to you in association with WorldSport, the world's #1 supplier for all your off-road and leisure sportswear. Just visit their online website for more information.